I'm going to show you how I box model a body from scratch so that I don't have to rely on sculpting if you don't want to. In a new Blender file here, I'm going to select everything, A to select everything, and X to delete, and Shift A, Mesh, we're going to add in a new cube. We're going to use this cube for the modeling. Before we go further in the modeling, let's add in a reference image. I'm going to go to the File Explorer, and I'm just going to drag and drop this reference image into Blender. Link to download this reference image will be in the description. Alt R, Alt G, and Alt S to clear all transforms on that object. And now I'm going to rotate this on the X axis by 90 degrees. Okay. And I'm just going to hide this cube for now. So this is our front image. I'm going to align this to be in the center just so that we can see where the center is a little bit clearly. Let's go to the object data properties and let's check opacity. So I'm just going to move this to the middle right here. I might need to adjust this later on, but for now it's good. Let's also move the feet above the grid line. We're just going to move this right here. All right, this is nice. So this is going to be our reference for the front view. We can also move this back on the y-axis. Okay, and Shift D, we are going to duplicate this because we need one for the side view. R and Z to rotate this on the z-axis by 90 degrees. And then let's move this on the y-axis. So right here will be where it will be. And we can also move this on the x-axis just to get a little bit of space right here. All right, so we have our side view and we have our front reference images in place. I don't want to see this when I go into perspective. So we can just select this reference image and then uncheck perspective. Also this one right here, uncheck perspective. So the reference images are still in this file, but we only see them when we go in front view or side view. And we can do that by pressing numpad 1 or numpad 3. All the shortcuts I use are going to be displayed here just in case I don't see it. All right, let's go ahead and actually start modeling. I'm going to unhide the cube and then I'm going to select it, going to edit mode. Let's go to the front view with 1 on the numpad, and then I'm going to scale this down. I'm just going to bring this off right here. Okay, and we're going to start with the chest of the character. Let's go into the X-ray mode with Alt Z. You can select this and I'm going to scale it up. I'm just going to move this up right here. Okay, so that is the front. Let's go from the side, and then we can just rotate this cube all the way like this. And in extreme mode again, I'm going to select this and I'm going to move this right here. I'm going to move this right here, and just to follow the shape of the reference. So something like this. We can add in a new loop cut right here, and we can scale this up. Okay, that looks nice. And let's add in a loop cut in the middle right here. We can select these edges here and these edges here, S and X to scale it down a bit, and also the same for this one, X and X to scale it down a little bit. Let's add in a loop cut right here too so that we can scale this out, S and X to scale this out. All right, I'm going to select these edges at the top and GZ to bring them up. And this just gives us an indication of where the neck will meet the shoulder. I'll select these ones and move them up. I'll just move this out for where the shoulders will be. And now you notice what we are doing on the left side of the character is not moving over to the other side. So you can use an add-on to automatically add a new modifier for us. So you can press N, and under edits, you have the auto mirror add-on. If you don't see this, you have to enable it. So Control comma to open up the preferences tab. Under get extensions, just search for auto mirror and make sure that it's installed on your PC. And you have this option here. So just make sure it's on x-axis and then click auto mirror. And it's going to delete half of your object and it's going to add in the mirror modifier with all the right settings. Okay, so this is for the chest. Okay, this looks nice. Let's select these pieces at the bottom here. I'm going to go from the side view. I'm just going to extrude this like so, and I'll just move it into place just to follow the reference. Okay, right there looks fine. We'll take it from the front view and also from the side view, and yeah, something like this looks nice. I'm going to place it right here, and I'm going to select this just so that we can align it with the reference. I'm going to move it out right here. I'm going to add in another locus right here, and let's select this and just bring this in. All right, nice. Let's select these faces once again, and we are going to extrude the back of the character. We're going to extrude this, and I'll move it right here. And I'm going to select this vertex, and I'm just going to move it to follow the shape of the back of the character. Nice. And I'm going to select this edge G and X to move it out. Okay, that looks nice. And let's add in a loop cut in the middle right here. I'm going to select this one GG to move it in. So we're going to extrude the leg from here. But just before we do that, let's clean up some of this geometry. I'm just going to move this to the middle. I'll select this GG to move them to the middle. I'll select this and GG to move this right here. Okay. For this edge right here, you can actually move this in. So that's that shape at the back of the character. So let's just move this in, and also this one in. Let's also move this in, this one to in, and somewhere around here is fine. Let's make the back of this character a little bit more rounded. So just something like this. I'm going to select this edge and I'll just move it out. You can also just move these vertices individually into a shape that looks much nicer. Okay, this looks nice. Let's add in some more geometry here so that we can adjust the shapes. I'm going to Control R, and then I'm going to add in a loop cut right here. Nice. I'm going to select these edges, and I'm going to GX, and I'm just going to move them right here. Okay, this is looking good. I might bring this one down just a little bit more, and I'll just adjust the shape of this one right here. I will select this vertex GD to move it in. I'll also move this one in, and right here we're going to extrude the legs. Alright, just before we extrude the leg, I'm going to select this GG to just move them in. So let's just round out these parts a little bit more. And we can also just select this and move them in a bit. And we can select this GG and then just move them in. Alright, it's looking nice. For the shoulders, I'm just going to select this and I'm just going to move it up. Let's give a bit of indication of the shape of the shoulder. Alright, let's go ahead and extrude the legs. I'm going to add in a loop cut right here. And from these four pieces right here, just select them from the side view E to extrude them. And Blender will try to extrude it this way because that's the direction the faces are pointing in. Or let's just move this back, rotate this, scale it down, and just make it fit the reference right here. So I'm putting it on the knee of the character. Let's scale this down right here. Alright, I want to make this shape a little bit more circular. You can right click and we're going to see the loop tools add-on. This is also another add-on. If you don't see this, Control Command to bring up the preferences tab, and then you can search for loop tools, and then just make sure that's installed on your PC. I'm going to right click loop tools and circle. So that's made that shape completely circular. Just going to rotate this a little bit, and I'll put it exactly where the knee is. Alright, this is looking nice. From the front view, let's also make sure this looks good. I'm going to deviate a little bit from the reference. So the legs on the reference are very close to each other. I'll just spread them out a little bit. So I'm just going to put this right here. Okay, and that looks good. Just before we get back to the video, if the goal is creating characters for illustrations, for animations, you're working on short films, or you're working on games, I want to invite you to join the Stylish Character Academy, which is a one-on-one mentorship program with me, where I show you all you need to create your 3D characters from start to finish. This is for you if you want to fast track your learning process and you want to skip all the guesswork that comes with creating 3D characters. Students who have joined the academy are making work like this just after a few weeks of joining. So if that sounds good to you, click the first link in the description. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Okay, let's get back to the video. From the front view, let's just fix up these shapes here. I'm going to GG to slide this in, and I'll bring that down just a little bit. And we definitely need to add more geometry here for the shape to start looking like a leg. I'm going to Control R to add in a loop cut right here. I'll go from the side view. Then we can scale this up and rotate it, and I'll just move this right here. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to scale this down. I'm going to right click loop tools and I'm going to choose the circle option again. And then let's scale this down. So if you're scaling down and the vertices are clipping in the middle right there, just go to your modifiers and then uncheck clipping and then scale it down. Once you've scaled it down to a position you like, then you can turn back on clipping. Okay, something like this. And now let's just fix up the shapes around here to make it look much nicer. The best way I find to do this is actually in sculpt mode. So let's jump over to sculpt mode and we are going to use the grab brush, G for the grab brush. And we're just going to use a bigger brush size. And then I'm just going to pull this out just like this. So we have a much nicer shape. Okay, so I'm just toggling overlays just in case you're wondering what I was doing. I just toggle on overlays off and on. I have a shortcut and just toggle it when I press Z from IC. So this is looking nice. I'm going to bring this up and then I'm also going to adjust the shift from the back. Just something that looks like this. And we can also just pull down shift to smooth out the shapes at the back right here. Okay, that's starting to look pretty nice. Let's go ahead and finish up the shapes on the leg. I'm going to select this. I'm going to extrude this down and I'll just bring it right here all the way to the bottom of the leg and I'll place that right here. To follow the shape of our reference, we need an edge group right here. I'll scale this and I'll move this right here. Okay. Let's check how that's begin from the front view. I'll just move this out and I'll bring this in. Okay. And I'm just toggling overlays to see how this looks. Okay, I think that looks nice. I'm going to go into the front view, S and X to scale this down. All right, that's looking good. Let's add in some more look cuts to help us with the shapes. Let's add in a look cut right here. I'll just adjust the shapes to make it look much nicer. You can bring this down right here. You can also bring this down right here. From the front view, S and X, I'm just going to scale this down. Also do the same right here. I'll select this one, S and X to scale it up. And I'll just bring it out here. We have a nice shape for the legs. I'm just going to go into sculpt mode and then I'm just going to adjust the way this actually looks. So it's much better to use the sculpt mode so they can easily adjust the shapes like so. All right, and this is looking good. Now let's work on the top of the body a little bit more. Let's add in some more loop codes right here. So I just added in two more loop codes. I'll go back into sculpt mode. I'll hold down shift. I'll just smooth this out. I'll just very gently smooth this out so that I don't lose the shapes that we already have. Also at the back too. And that looks really nice. I'm going to use the grab brush and just going to pull this out just to indicate the belly of this character. I'm just going to pull this out. Okay, this is starting to look nice. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go up to viewport shading. I'll change the lighting from studio to matte just like how this looks. So I'm going to use the matte instead, and that'll help us spot some other areas that we might need to fix. So just go around your model, use the grab brush and adjust what you think you might need adjusting. I'm going to adjust the shapes at the front here. The hips need to be much wider, so I'll just bring this out and I'll narrow the wrist right here. All right, that looks really nice. Let's add in some more loop cuts right here. I'm going to Ctrl R and I'll add in a loop cuts right there. Also adding two at the bottom of the pit here. I'll go back into sculpt mode and just going to pull this into place. Okay, this is looking good. Let's model in really simple pit. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to select these faces at the bottom here. From the side view, I'm going to extrude this down and just move it back to fit where the shoe is. Okay, I'm going to add in a loop cut at the middle and I'll scale this up and move this right here. All right, that looks good. I'm going to select these faces and I'm going to SX to scale it on the X axis. So I'm going to extrude the feet from right here. let's select these faces and we are going to extrude them out. I'll go from the side view and I'll just extrude this out. And then let's just move this into position. I'll scale this down and I'll move it right here. I'm going to select this vertices at the top and I'll just bring them down. Also, this one, I'm going to bring it here, just like this. Something like this looks nice. From the front view, it doesn't look too nice. Let's select this and SX to just scale this out. I'm just going to move it on the X axis too. And I'll just zoom out to just make sure everything is looking nice overall. Okay, that looks good. We can add in more loop constructs here so that we can further define the shape of the leg. So I'm just going to Control R, and if you press 6, we will add in 6 new loop cuts. 6 might be a bit too much. Control R, and now adding 4. Okay, 4 seems just fine. And I'll go back into sculpt mode with the grab brush. I'll holding down shift and just going to smooth this side out. And also smooth this side out, just like so. So that we can have a much smoother shape. So we want a shape that goes like this into the legs. So let's just use the grab brush and do that. I'm holding down shift and I'm just smoothing stuff out to get that shape. And let's make sure that the shape of the foot actually looks like feet. I'm going to go from the bottom view, Control 7 to go to the bottom view. I'm going to use the grab brush and I'm going to pull this out. I also pull this out right here. And then let's make a very simple shape of it. I'll pull in this side and I also pull in this side. And I also pull here in. And then let's just make the pinky toe right there. And this will be the biggest toe right here. So something like this, a shape like this makes sense for the feet. Let's go into the 3D view and let's fix up more of the shapes. I'm just using the grab brush and just pulling this into this. And something like this is looking really nice. So the feet and the leg we have sorted out to a good extent. So let's go ahead and work on the hands a little bit. I'm going to go into edit mode and let's just prepare where the hands is going to come out from. I'm going to select these edges here and I'm just going to move them back. So I'm going to extrude the hand from these edges. I select these edges here and I just move them back, move them forward. Okay, something like that is looking nice. We can select these faces here and let's also just move them forward a little bit just to give us the indication of where the hand will come out from. Before I extrude that, I'll go into sculpt mode. I'll use the grab brush and I'll just adjust the shapes to fit the reference a little bit. I'll also do the same from the side. I'll take this back just a little bit and I'll also bring this forward. Chest of the character will come out from here. So I'll just move this forward like so. Alright, now we can go into edit mode with those 4 pieces selected. These ones, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll go into the front view and I'll extrude this out. I'll just keep this right here. I'm going to scale it down and I'll rotate this. So this is going to be the shoulders. And then the actual arms, we are going to pull them out from here. Just before we do that, let's fix up the shapes on the shoulders. I'm going to select these faces, S and Y. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. Let's add in one more loop cut right here. Okay, this looks good. And then let's just go into sculpt mode and adjust the shapes right here. I'm just holding down shift to smooth out the shapes. Okay, and also right here, just make sure that this goes nicely into the chest. I'll use the grab brush to pull this out and also at the back right here. Okay, so this is looking good. We can make the hole where the arm will come out from a bit rounded. I'll pull this forward like so, and I'll also just bring this back like so. Okay, and then I'm going to select this. Now we can extrude this out. I'm going to extrude E to extrude, and then that's going to extrude them in this direction. That's fine. I'm going to G to grab them, R to rotate, and just scale them down. And I'll deviate a little bit from the reference right here because I just want this to be in more A pose rather than a complete T pose. So I'm just going to deviate a little bit from the reference and just place this right here. All right, you can right click loop tools and then choose circle. That looks good. Control R. I'm going to add in a loop cut right here. And I'm also going to loop tools and circle. And let's just scale this down. And I'll just bring this right here. Select these pieces and I'll just adjust them to fit the character. All right, let's adjust some things. So we extruded in shape of the shoulders and most of the shape that we have around here. So let's just go into sculpt mode. I'll use the grab brush and I'll just pull this in like so. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to just compare this with the reference and I'll just pull that into place like so. Okay, that looks good. Let's just extrude out the neck before we go ahead and finish up the arms. You can select these four pieces right here, probably this one too. I to insert them and B so that the mirror modifier doesn't affect it. I'm just going to bring this right here and let's extrude this up. I'm going to scale it down S, Z, and 0 to scale it on the x-axis by 0. And then I'm just going to scale this down and I'll bring it right here. Okay. And I'm also going to just rotate this. And let's make this fit the shape of our reference a little bit more. I'm going to select this loop cut right here. And we can just move this right here. I'll go back into sculpting for a bit. And I'll just adjust everything to look a little bit more nicer. I'm going to smooth this out. Okay, that looks good. And then let's just delete these faces right here. We don't actually need them. X, and we're going to delete these faces. We can select this loop around here, EZ to extrude it up. And this is going to be the neck. I'm going to scale this down a bit and also just scale this down a little bit. Also, this one, scale it down, G and X to move it in. And then we can go back into sculpt mode, use the grab brush and pull this out. Okay, that's became really nice. Let's go ahead and extrude out the arms completely. I'm going to select these pieces right here and then E to extrude. I'll extrude all the way to the wrist. And then I'm just going to scale this down. I'll add in a loop cut right here, S to scale this up. And I'll just bring this right here. So this is going to be the shape of the arm right here. I can also add in a loop cut right here to further define the shape of the arm. So something like this. From the top view, I'm going to select this and I'm just going to rotate it and I'm going to bring it on the y-axis forward. So this rotation is important for when we are adding in animation or any form of deformation to this character. It's going to be important for this rotation to be in place so that once the character starts deforming, it actually deforms properly. So I'm just going to select this and I'm going to rotate this a little bit. All right, this is starting to look good. I think this lower arm is a bit too long. I'll just select this and I'll move them backwards. Like so. I'll just select this and scale it down. All right, this is starting to look good. I'm just going to use the grab brush and I'm going to pull everything into shape. Make sure everything is working together nicely. And I'm just noticing the neck looks like this. So let's just go into edit mode. I'll select this. I click loop tools and circle. Also right here, loop tools. I click loop tools and circle. And you can actually press Shift R to repeat your action, just in case you don't want to repeat the same action again. So Shift R is shortcut to repeat your action. And then I'm going to move this into place. Okay, let's add in some more geometry at the arm right here. I'm just going to Control Power, I'm going to add in the loop cut, and I'm going to scale this up just to give the upper arm a little bit of shape. And we can scale this up. All right, that looks nice. Then we can also add in some more loop cuts right here and scale this up into a shape that we like. I'm going to add in one more loop cut here. I'm just adding two more right here. Okay, this is looking really nice. Let's add in a subdivision surface modifier. Control 1 to add in a subdivision surface modifier. And I'll get rid of these faces right here because we don't actually need them. X and delete faces. Okay. And now that we have the subdivision surface modifier in place, we're just going to go into sculpt mode. I for the inflate brush, and we are going to need to inflate some of the geometry. So use the inflate brush, and then I'm just going to go over some of these shapes. So I'm going to go over the legs, then I'm going to go over the arms, then I'm going to go over the neck. If you're sculpting and something like this happens, just go back into edit mode, select the vertices at the middle and GX to move them back to each other. Okay, that looks nice. I'm going to actually just adjust the shape of the neck from the side view in edit mode, something like that. And then we can continue using the inflate brush. If you want to deflate any part of the character, you can hold down control and deflate that part. Okay, and let's tighten up the back of the character a little bit. I'm going to add in a loop cut right here. I'm just going to select these edges at the back. I'm going to move them in. So we have a tight crease at the back of the character right there. And then let's just select these edges and move them so that the back, so that the leg of the character can be much smoother. So something like that looks good. Can also select these edges at the middle here, GY, and we can move this in. And we can also move this in. Can also move this in. And I'm just selecting these vertices GG to slide them in. And I'm just cleaning up the geometry that we currently have. GG, I'm going to slide them in. And I'm going to add in one more loop cut right here so that I can use the grab brush and we can adjust the shapes of what we have in edit mode right here. Okay, now that we have this, we can go back into edit mode and we're going to make a patch at the knee, and this is going to be important when we are deforming the character. So just select the four faces closest to the knee and I to make that patch right there, and you can just select this GG to slide them down and select this GG to slide them up. You can go back into sculpt mode and then just make proper knee shapes with those new geometry that we just added in. So something like that. We are also going to do the same at the elbow right here. I'm going to select these four pieces, I to insert them, and then we can go back into sculpt mode and then we can just adjust this into place. I'm just going to bring this out, just indicates where the elbow will be. Now we can go ahead and add in the hands. Check out this video right here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.